Dearly beloved, we are gathered here on this beautiful industrial park out in the middle of nowhere to take a closer look at the Porsche 911 3.0 RSR. Now, most likely none of you know, but I am a Porsche guy. I love Porsches. It is my dream car. I've got it on my bucket list that within 5 years I'm going to get a Porsche 911. Most likely in between 1970s all the way up to the mid 1980s. I'm saving my pennies. So hopefully that'll be the case. But, I became a Porsche fan back in the in the late 1980s when I saw the movie Le Mans with Steve McQueen. If you've seen the movie, you'll recall that at the beginning of the movie, Steve McQueen is seen driving around the town of Le Mans in a 911, most likely a 1966 911. Now, when I saw that car the first time, I fell in love with the shape of the car. It's by far the most beautiful sculpted car that I've ever seen, at least in my book. Most awesome car there is. And of course, going on with the movie, he jumps out of the 911 and then jumps into the extremely powerful 917K. Doesn't win I'm not going to spoil the movie for you in case you haven't seen it, but a fantastic movie. That is the movie that made me a Porsche guy. Been in love with Porsche ever since. But the car that we're looking at right here, this is a 1974 911 3.0 naturally aspirated H6 or flat 6. And not exactly my favorite Porsche. I mean, for me, the most awesome looking Porsche is the 911T at the early 1970s. If you actually recall, the Kramer brothers, Erwin Kramer and Manfred Kramer, quick history in those guys, they were Porsche dealers. They had dealerships in Germany, and they suddenly became interested in going racing. And they became very famous because they took the Porsche 935 and then they began to modify it with each successive season. We had the Porsche 935 K1, the K2, the K3, the K4. Obviously, Porsche itself was behind them and providing them with feedback and technical assistance. And then they went on to the Porsche 962, again modifying those cars, and they went all the way up to the mid 1960s. Into the 1990s. Well, this is where it all began. This was the car that the Kramer brothers purchased to go racing back in the 1970s. They purchased two cars and they took them, in amateur events. They participated in Le Mans with this car. I'm not sure what the results were, but this is the car that began the whole Kramer racing thing, And then, of course, if you all know, Porsche has gone to dominate endurance racing for decades, since the early 60s maybe, with the 356 all the way up to the 919, in the present day. It's too bad they retired from endurance racing this year, but, nonetheless, this car remains my favorite. The 911 is definitely my cup of tea. Hopefully, I'll be able to own one. Until then, I am going to keep driving the virtual versions. Porsche forever. And we're going to be taking this car out for the Nürburgring. Going to be doing maybe a couple laps at the most, maybe one lap. I don't want to make this an extremely long video. But just as a technical thing, you can tell this car is an RSR just by looking at the front oil cooler below the slanted nose of the car. So I'm going to be taking this car out. I'll see you on the racetrack. Okay guys, so we're here at the Nordschleife with a Porsche 911 3.0 RSR. Going to take this little puppy out for a spin. We're also using Track IR. Haven't used Track IR in a long time. I installed it like a year and a half ago. I was primarily using it for flight sim, FSX, and Rise of Flight. Oh god. And I had to uninstall those games for some reason, and with it came off Track IR. But we're going to use it here, see how it handles. Okay, so this is a flat 6 3.0. Cranking out around 330 brakes horsepower. got an oil cooler at the front of the car. That's how you tell it's an RSR. Obviously the RS also had it. It comes the first jump of the racetrack. A fantastic car. Anybody who's driven the Porsche at high speed will let you know that because of the rear engine configuration, this cars tend to be quite tail heavy, so they tend to snap, tend to oversteer at high speeds. You gotta be very careful with the steering wheel. You don't want to make any abrupt movements because it's like a pendulum, you know. The tail of the car just wants to step out, and it also tends to be somewhat. Okay, we gotta. Also, it tends to be quite understeery when going into slow corners like this one. Yeah, obviously Trek IR changes the experience considerably. But nonetheless, the car is just amazing. One of those fun cars that you just want to go for lap after lap after lap. Because the experience itself is just overwhelming. Should have taken that in third gear. It's one of those places where a lot of people get together to watch the cars go by. Don't know the name of this place. Just call it the Village due to those houses down there. No, Jesus. Like I said earlier, I mean this. And I didn't even do any abrupt movements or anything. The car just, the tail just decided to kick out for some reason. This is Niki Lauda's crash site. Yeah, awesome. That's what I love about Porsches. They, you know, it's a race car's, I mean, a race driver's car. You need to work. Oh, we're going off. Ooh. Obviously, you need to work to get the car around the racetrack. Usually go down to third gear down there, but the car tends to like this, you know, it tends to over rev. You don't have much room to work with. Okay, here we go, the carousel. Gotta take it slow and steady. Awesome job. So, okay, so this is the area where things get a little bit sketchy. I'm not entirely familiar with this area here, so I'm just going to take it very slow, nice and easy. Usually just take these curves in third gear. The car just handles them pretty well. This is one of those famous areas in No, not this one. It's actually another place where a lot of people get together. In fact, if you look at it's not here. It's here actually. You see a lot of cars, a lot of videos on the Nordschleife, a lot of cars crashing in this area. This is where they videotape the crashes. Very tricky area to go there. Being very conservative here. Okay, there's a fourth gear turn. Okay, so we're almost through. We're just about to reach the second carousel. This was again in a fourth gear turn. Oh man, totally screwed that one up. You can hear the bottom of the car scraping the ground. Obviously not much road clearance. Okay, so I think I'm going to go for a second lap. Just for the sake of it. Okay, so you know what? I forgot to adjust the top gear ratio. Most likely it's going to hit the red line. I think the top speed in this area is 260 with the current gear ratios. There you go. Redlining. Okay. That was awesome. Well done. Patting myself on the back. And just listen to that engine. Sounds like a Volkswagen Beetle's engine on steroids. You just want to keep going and going and going. Quite a fun car to drive. Hopefully my dream will come true and I'll be able to own one of these. I don't care what version it is, just as long as it's a 911. Preferably from the 1970s, 1980s. So here comes Flugplatz, the airport. Whoa. Just listen to that engine again. I'm going to keep repeating that. Here comes the second jump. One of those tricky areas, the either now a frost or forest. much fuel we got? Well, actually we're on reserves already, so that little red light's about to go off at any moment. I love this place right here. Slow corners. I don't care how long this video is. Just, holy monkey! Hope I don't crash somewhere. There we go. That was interesting too. Definitely got a heel and toe this car. Driving the truck IR is actually, I don't know, kind of like makes the experience a little bit more immersive. Makes you feel like you just want to turn your head, look at stuff, you know. Not recommended, but you can do it. Okay, so we're getting close to the carousel again. Oh, it didn't downshift this time. Okay, so let's take this hairpin. Oh, this will go off the Caracciolo line. Gotta learn the name of this place here because a lot of cars crash. There's actually a video on YouTube where there's actually lasts about an hour long, and most of the crashes that you see on that video take place back there on that curve where all the people get together. Okay, so we're almost done. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay, two more corners to go. Okay. Oh yeah. Now you can relax a little bit, take a look at the gauges, see we're almost out of fuel. Oil pressure is good. Water temperature is good. We're good. Okay, that was the pit area, but we're not going to go in. This is the last lap, guys, so don't worry. Okay, so that's going to do it for today, guys. This is the Porsche 911 3.0 RSR from 1974. Hope you guys enjoyed the experience, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.